10. Unmatched historical accuracy. One of the most striking elements of One Battle After Another is its uncompromising dedication to historical accuracy. Every costume, weapon, and formation depicted in the film has been meticulously recreated from original sources. The costume department scoured museums, archives, and historical documents to replicate uniforms down to the smallest details. Buttons, insignias, fabric textures, and even the wear patterns consistent with months of campaign life. For instance, the way a soldier's tunic is frayed or stained is an arbitrary choice. It reflects the reality of months in the field, which adds subtle but powerful authenticity to each frame. Weapons and battle gear were reconstructed with the same precision. Swords were forged according to historical metallurgical methods, muskets followed surviving schematics, and siege engines were built to scale using archaeological evidence. The filmmakers even conducted functional tests to ensure that movements with these weapons were realistic, influencing both choreography and actor performances. A cavalry charge, for example, wasn't just filmed for visual effect. It was studied and rehearsed according to historical cavalry manuals, with timing, formation, and even riders' posture mirroring real military practice. The result is a sense that every engagement on screen could plausibly have happened exactly as depicted. Moreover, the depiction of battle strategy is remarkable. The production consulted military historians and strategists to accurately represent troop movements, supply challenges, and the morale of soldiers. Each confrontation isn't just an explosion of action, but a calculated engagement based on historical campaigns. For viewers, this means that the film doesn't just entertain, it educates. When you see a flanking maneuver or a defensive stance, you're watching a historically informed tactical decision, not just cinematic drama. The film's meticulous research allows audiences to grasp the complexity of historical warfare in a way that few other war movies achieve. Even American audiences familiar with U.S. military history can appreciate the parallels in strategy and soldier experience. For instance, the way the film depicts discipline, chain of command, and the stress of prolonged combat echoes lessons from American Revolutionary War reenactments or Civil War battlefield simulations. These connections make the story universally relatable, bridging cultures and centuries through the shared realities of military life. Year 9. Filming under extreme conditions. Equally impressive is the extreme effort the cast and crew endured to capture authentic battlefield conditions. Much of the filming took place in harsh and unforgiving environments, from snow-laden mountains to scorching deserts. The filmmakers believed that digital effects could never fully replicate the sensation of real weather, so they chose to immerse the actors in the elements, creating scenes that feel tactile and immediate. Imagine soldiers trudging through knee-deep snow, armor freezing and boots heavy with ice, or marching under a relentless sun with sand whipping across their faces. These conditions were not simulated, they were real. Actors and stunt performers faced grueling challenges carrying full gear for hours in sub-zero or extreme heat conditions. These real physical hardships informed their performances, lending authenticity to every expression of fatigue, determination, and pain. One actor remarked that during a snow sequence he could feel every icy gust on his skin and every labored breath as if he were truly on a winter campaign. In desert sequences, heat and dehydration became part of the story itself. The audience can almost feel the oppressive sun bearing down, intensifying the tension of the march and battle. Safety remained paramount, with medics on set, hydration stations, and meticulously planned stunts. Yet, despite precautions, minor injuries and exhaustion were inevitable, and the filmmakers embraced these real effects. A scraped cheek or bruised arm often became part of the character's appearance, enhancing the film's realism. This approach blurs the line between performance and lived experience, allowing viewers to sense the genuine struggle behind every action sequence. The authenticity isn't just visual, it's physical, emotional, and immersive. equipment and technical challenges added another layer of difficulty. Cameras had to withstand freezing temperatures and sandstorms, and cinematographers had to adapt to the reflective glare of snow or the harsh contrasts of desert light. Sound engineers often re-recorded dialogue or battle noises to maintain clarity without losing the raw intensity captured on set. Innovative solutions, such as protective housings for cameras and strategic placement of reflective surfaces, ensured that the cinematic quality remained high without compromising realism. Interestingly, these extreme conditions influence the narrative choices. The film doesn't just showcase enemy fire, it highlights the struggle against nature itself. Frostbite, exhaustion, and thirst are portrayed as real threats, reinforcing the central theme that survival depends as much on enduring the environment as on defeating the enemy. This narrative layer adds suspense, empathy, and stakes beyond the immediate combat. The audience isn't merely watching a battle, they re-experiencing the relentless challenge of historical warfare in all its brutality and unpredictability. The intense filming conditions also fostered genuine camaraderie among the cast. Months of enduring harsh environments together created bonds that are evident on screen. Soldiers' interactions, trust, rivalry, and shared hardship mirror real relationships formed under duress, adding emotional depth and realism. Interviews with the cast reveal that these shared experiences enhanced performances, making scenes of unit solidarity and conflict resonate more powerfully with viewers. In essence, Facti 9 demonstrates that the film's realism extends beyond meticulous research. It is embedded in the very physicality of its production. From snow-covered peaks to blazing deserts, the hardships endured by actors and crew enrich every scene, making audiences feel the true cost of battle, not just the spectacle of it. Combined with the historical precision highlighted in fact the Grueling 10, these elements set a new standard for war films, where authenticity, immersion, and storytelling converge seamlessly. Larker 8. Groundbreaking Character. Preparation. One of the most fascinating aspects of One Battle After Another is how actors fully immerse themselves into their roles, blurring the line between performance and lived experience. Unlike typical war films where actors might only wear costumes and memorize lines, the cast underwent intense preparation that mirrored the lives of soldiers in the historical period. For example, actors spent months training in swordsmanship, hand-to-hand combat, and cavalry maneuvers, not just for choreography but to internalize the rhythm, stress, and mindset of a soldier on campaign. Stunt coordinators and historical consultants worked closely with the actors to ensure that their movements, reactions, and posture reflected authentic experience. Beyond physical training, the actors engaged in mental and emotional preparation. They learned how prolonged marches, scarcity of food, exposure to extreme weather, and the constant threat of enemy engagement affect morale and decision-making. Some actors even participated in survival exercises, spending nights in tents without proper bedding, simulating the exhaustion and discomfort of soldiers. This approach influenced performances in subtle ways. A flinch, a wary glance, or a hesitant step in battle scenes carries the weight of real fatigue and fear, making characters more believable and their struggles more palpable. Interestingly, the filmmakers drew inspiration from American military training practices to enhance realism. Techniques such as forced marches, situational awareness drills, and simulated command exercises informed how characters responded to both allies and enemies. This blend of historical authenticity and practical modern understanding allowed the film to communicate universal aspects of soldier life: camaraderie, hierarchy, fear, and resilience. When audiences watch scenes of strategic planning or tense anticipation before a charge, they're witnessing performances that embody the physical and psychological rigor of actual soldiers, even across centuries. The dedication extended to minor details that often go unnoticed but significantly impact audience immersion. Soldiers' reactions to weapons, their handling of armor, the way they eat, sleep, and interact during downtime, all were informed by research and hands-on experience. props weren't merely accessories. They became extensions of the character's reality. A leather scabbard worn too long would develop scratches and fraying. A musket cleaned improperly would misfire occasionally in controlled sequences, and clothing would gradually wear in continuity with the story. These details, subtle as they are, compound to create a sense of lived-in authenticity rarely seen in war cinema. 7. Innovative cinematic perspective. Equally impressive is the film's revolutionary approach to perspective. Instead of relying solely on traditional wide shots and fixed camera angles, the cinematography in One Battle After Another places the audience directly in the midst of action. Cameras were mounted on soldiers' bodies, horses, and siege engines, providing POV shots that make viewers feel the weight, motion, and chaos of battle. This immersive perspective transforms passive observation into an active sensory experience. You feel the sway of a horse beneath you, the impact of the ground during a charge, and the sudden jolt of nearby explosions. The filmmakers also experimented with aerial and drone photography to capture the scope of large-scale engagements, juxtaposing the intimate POV shots with sweeping vistas. This technique highlights both the individual struggle and the broader tactical picture, allowing audiences to appreciate the meticulous strategy behind troop movements, while simultaneously connecting emotionally to personal narratives. For American viewers familiar with large-scale reenactments of Civil War battles or Revolutionary War simulations, these perspectives feel familiar yet elevated, providing a sense of participation that traditional cinematography rarely achieves. Lighting and environmental conditions further enhanced perspective. Natural light, whether harsh desert sun or dim twilight, was leveraged to create tension, emphasize danger, and highlight terrain challenges. Cinematographers intentionally avoided over-reliance on CGI lighting, favoring real-world shadows, reflections, and atmospheric conditions to maintain authenticity. For instance, in a critical nighttime assault, torches flickered realistically, casting moving shadows on faces, walls, and weaponry, which heightened suspense and situational awareness for both characters and viewers. The audience experiences the uncertainty and limited visibility that soldiers themselves would have faced. Sound design complemented these visual innovations. The crunch of boots on gravel, the clank of armor, the distant roar of artillery, each sound was meticulously recorded and layered to create a three-dimensional auditory experience. Microphones were even mounted on actors and horses to capture authentic audio dynamics, allowing viewers to experience the nuanced sounds of battle from multiple perspectives. In doing so, the film doesn't just show you combat, it places you inside it, blending sight, sound, and spatial awareness into a cohesive narrative force. Another striking innovation is the strategic use of slow motion and focus shifts. Key moments, like the instant a projectile strikes, a sword parries, or a commander issues a critical order, are accentuated through controlled slow-motion sequences. These techniques are not purely stylistic. They serve to highlight tactical decisions, emotional stakes, and the gravity of individual actions within the chaos. For example, a commander signaling a flanking maneuver is framed in a way that communicates both urgency and consequence, allowing the audience to grasp the importance of split-second decisions without losing the intensity of surrounding combat. Moreover, the film leverages perspective to tell personal stories within large-scale warfare. While the audience can see thousands of troops clashing in a panoramic view, they are also guided to focus on individual characters' struggles, decisions, and moral dilemmas. Close-ups, selective focus, and POV shots ensure that the human element remains central, reminding viewers that behind every strategy and maneuver are people facing fear, fatigue, and ethical choices. This duality, simultaneously intimate and epic, creates a narrative rhythm that keeps audiences emotionally invested while appreciating the grandeur of historical events. 6. Authentic leadership portrayals. A key element that distinguishes One Battle After Another is the nuanced depiction of leadership. War films often focus on heroic action, But this film emphasizes decision-making under pressure, the weight of responsibility, and the human vulnerabilities of commanders. The directors studied historical records, letters, and memoirs of actual military leaders to portray commanders who were intelligent, flawed, and deeply human. Actors portraying these figures were coached not only on tactical maneuvers, but also on leadership psychology, how stress affects judgment, how soldiers respond to orders, and the delicate balance between authority and camaraderie. The filmmakers drew inspiration from American military practices to enhance realism. Concepts such as chain of command, rapid decision-making, and battlefield communication were adapted into the portrayal of historical figures. For example, a scene depicting a commander issuing orders during a chaotic skirmish was choreographed using principles from U.S. military field exercises. The actor had to convey urgency and clarity while managing multiple moving parts: soldiers, terrain, and enemy threats. This approach emphasizes the psychological and logistical challenges of leadership, showing that success in battle depends as much on mental acuity and emotional resilience as on physical prowess. Furthermore, the film doesn't shy away from exploring the consequences of leadership decisions. Tactical errors, miscommunications, and the toll of difficult choices are all portrayed realistically, reminding viewers that commanders face moral and strategic dilemmas. One striking example involves a decision to hold a critical hill despite overwhelming enemy numbers. The portrayal isn't just about bravery. It captures fear, doubt, and the ethical complexity of sacrificing lives for strategic objectives. By humanizing leadership, the film deepens audience empathy and enhances the tension of each battle, making viewers appreciate the stakes on both personal and operational levels. Another dimension of authenticity comes from how soldiers interact with their leaders. The filmmakers studied historical accounts to depict realistic reactions, loyalty, dissent, and the subtle ways soldiers read and respond to orders. This creates layered dynamics where the audience can see the chain of influence, morale, and trust in action. The result is a richer narrative, where leadership is not an abstract concept, but a living, breathing element that drives both plot and emotional engagement. Number 5. Realistic battle tactics and logistics. Equally compelling is the film's attention to military tactics and the often overlooked logistics of warfare. Unlike typical action-focused war movies, one battle after another explores the full scope of campaign planning, from troop movements and supply lines to reconnaissance and strategic positioning. Historical advisors worked closely with the production team to simulate accurate maneuvers and engagements, providing a sense of realism that grounds even the most dramatic moments. The film showcases how terrain, weather, and resource limitations influence decisions. For instance, a river crossing sequence demonstrates the careful calculation required to move troops safely, maintain unit cohesion, and avoid exposure to enemy fire. The scene isn't just visually stunning. It teaches the audience about the practical realities of historical warfare. Similarly, supply challenges are woven into the narrative. Soldiers must manage rations, repair equipment, and navigate communication breakdowns, which heightens the stakes and adds layers of suspense. American viewers can relate to these tactical and logistical details by drawing parallels with Civil War or Revolutionary War reenactments, where understanding terrain, supply lines, and command structures is critical. The filmmakers even incorporated lessons from modern military simulations to choreograph historically plausible yet cinematic battle sequences. For example, flanking maneuvers, defensive positions, and retreat strategies are all depicted with attention to both realism and storytelling clarity. The audience not only sees the action, but understands the reasoning behind each movement, creating a sense of strategic immersion rare in war films. The actors contributed to this realism by learning the protocols and procedures of soldiers from the period. They trained in formations, signal communication, and even period-specific drills to ensure that each movement on screen reflected plausible military behavior. This level of preparation allows battles to unfold naturally, without feeling staged or overly choreographed, and gives viewers an authentic sense of how historical armies operated under pressure. Additionally, the film highlights the human consequences of tactical decisions. Successes and failures on the battlefield are tied directly to individual courage, discipline, and situational awareness. A well-executed flanking maneuver might save hundreds of lives, while a misjudgment in formation could result in devastating losses. By tying strategy to human experience, the film transforms abstract military concepts into emotionally resonant storytelling. This integration of tactics and narrative ensures that audiences are intellectually engaged as well as emotionally invested, making each confrontation more than just spectacle. It becomes a study in leadership, coordination, and human endurance. Fact number 5 also underscores the importance of resource management and long-term planning in historical campaigns. Scenes depicting the transport of food, ammunition, and medical supplies show how logistics can dictate the tempo and outcome of war. These sequences are presented dynamically, often through cinematic tracking shots and detailed visuals of supply lines under threat, highlighting how the mundane realities of war are just as critical as heroism in determining success. This attention to detail enriches the narrative, adding realism that complements the film's immersive action sequences. Combined, Facts 6 and 5 reveal how one battle after another balances human drama with operational complexity. Authentic leadership portrayals engage viewers on a personal level, while realistic tactics and logistics immerse them in the strategic realities of warfare. The film doesn't just show battle, it educates audiences about the interplay between command, strategy, and human endurance, making each scene meaningful on multiple levels. 4. Emotional authenticity through actor immersion. One of the most remarkable aspects of the film is the depth to which actors immerse themselves emotionally in their roles. Unlike conventional war films, where actors often focus solely on physical performance, the cast of One Battle After Another underwent extensive psychological preparation. Actors studied historical diaries, letters, and personal accounts of soldiers to understand not just what they did, but how they felt, the fear, fatigue, camaraderie, and moral ambiguity inherent in battle. For instance, a young infantryman's anxiety before a charge, the tension of watching comrades fall, and the weight of responsibility were portrayed with nuances drawn from real historical narratives. The filmmakers went further by creating off-screen environments that mirrored life on campaign. Actors lived in conditions that reflected the film's settings, sleeping in tents, managing limited rations, and coping with exposure to harsh weather. This method acting approach ensured that performances were infused with real exhaustion, hunger, and tension. One scene, depicting soldiers waiting under a relentless sun before a surprise attack, benefited from the actors' genuine discomfort. The subtle gestures, wiping sweat, adjusting armor, glancing nervously at superiors, added layers of authenticity that resonate with viewers. It's a method that parallels how American Civil War reenactors study and inhabit historical roles, providing insights into emotional and physical resilience. Dialogue and interpersonal interactions were crafted to reflect real emotional dynamics. Conversations between soldiers, whispered instructions, moments of hesitation, and the unspoken communication of trust or doubt were all informed by research. Actors developed their own interpretations based on these historical insights, resulting in performances that feel natural and emotionally compelling. The audience doesn't just see characters, they feel their anxiety, relief, and moral dilemmas, creating a more immersive and humanized experience of war. 3. Immersive production design. 3 underscores the meticulous attention to the physical environment, which enhances immersion and narrative authenticity. Production designers, art directors, and set decorators collaborated to recreate not only battlefields but also encampments, towns, and fortifications with painstaking detail. Every element, From the placement of tents and artillery to the wear on soldiers, boots, and the authenticity of campfires, was designed to support the story and reflect historical reality. For example, a village under siege was constructed using materials, architecture, and layouts derived from period research, allowing the audience to feel the claustrophobia, confusion, and stakes of urban combat. This immersive approach extended to props and artifacts. Weapons, utensils, personal effects, and insignias were sourced or recreated based on surviving examples from the era. Even minor details like the types of fabric used in uniforms, the color of ribbons, and the arrangement of supplies were carefully considered. Cinematographers capitalized on these details with dynamic camera work, framing shots to highlight authenticity while enhancing the storytelling. When an officer picks up a historically accurate map or a soldier fastens a period-correct buckle, it reinforces the world-building without distracting the viewer, blending visual storytelling with historical fidelity. Environmental conditions were integrated into production design to heighten realism. Snow, mud, dust, and fire were not mere backdrops but active participants in the narrative. In one notable sequence, a freezing rainstorm turns a battlefield into a slick, treacherous landscape, influencing both tactics and character behavior. The physical challenges of the environment are mirrored in the story, making the audience feel the stakes of survival. American viewers can relate to this immersive realism by recalling experiences from outdoor historical reenactments, where terrain and weather dramatically shape both strategy and personal experience. Moreover, the integration of set design with narrative pacing allowed the film to control tension and focus. Narrow corridors, barricaded streets, and dense forests were used strategically to heighten suspense, while open plains and hills provided contrast for large-scale maneuvers. This balance ensured that viewers were never visually overwhelmed but constantly engaged, understanding both the scope of conflict and the human scale. Production design in one battle. After another thus functions as a silent narrator, guiding audience attention, reinforcing character arcs, and grounding cinematic spectacle in tangible reality. Sucker 2. Advanced choreography and stunt coordination. One of the most astonishing aspects of the film is its seamless integration of choreography and stunts. Unlike traditional war films where battle sequences rely heavily on digital effects or isolated action shots, one battle after another emphasizes fluid, continuous movement. Every skirmish, charge, and melee is meticulously planned to maximize realism while maintaining narrative clarity. Stunt coordinators worked hand-in-hand with historical consultants to ensure that swordplay, musket handling, and cavalry maneuvers were both accurate and visually compelling. This approach allows audiences to follow the action intuitively, understanding the flow of battle without relying on rapid editing or confusing camera angles. Actors underwent extensive stunt training, learning how to fall safely, maneuver weapons, and coordinate with other performers under high-pressure conditions. Many sequences were filmed in long takes, meaning that actors and stunt doubles had to maintain precise timing and positioning while conveying exhaustion, fear, and determination. For American audiences, this is reminiscent of the precision seen in large-scale Civil War reenactments, where every step and maneuver must be synchronized to recreate historical engagements authentically. The film elevates this concept by combining it with cinematic techniques that heighten tension and immersion. The choreography extends beyond individual movements to encompass large unit coordination. Massed infantry, artillery positioning, and cavalry charges are executed with a careful understanding of historical tactics. Each soldier's movement contributes to the overall strategic picture, allowing viewers to see how individual actions influence the outcome of complex engagements. This dedication to precision transforms what could be chaotic battle scenes into both thrilling and educational experiences, highlighting the complexity of historical warfare while keeping audiences on the edge of their seats. Number 1. Emotional resonance and storytelling depth. At the very top of the list is the film's unparalleled emotional depth. Beyond its technical brilliance and historical fidelity, One Battle After Another captivates audiences through powerful storytelling that connects viewers to the human heart of conflict. Characters are not just warriors, they are individuals with fears, hopes, and personal stakes that unfold alongside the battles. The film dedicates time to explore these narratives, interweaving intimate moments of camaraderie, moral struggle, and personal loss with the grand sweep of history. The filmmakers intentionally juxtaposed large-scale action with quiet, reflective sequences. A commander reviewing maps at dusk, a soldier writing a letter to loved ones, or a unit sharing a rare meal amidst chaos adds layers of emotional resonance. These moments humanize the participants, allowing audiences to empathize with their triumphs and tragedies. For American viewers, these narratives echo stories from military history, such as the personal letters of soldiers during World War II or the Vietnam War, making the emotional stakes universally relatable and deeply affecting. The score and sound design amplify this storytelling. Music swells during key moments, while silence and ambient sounds emphasize tension, danger, or reflection. Cinematic techniques, including close-ups, slow motion, and selective focus, draw attention to expressions and gestures, ensuring that audiences grasp the personal impact of historical events. This integration of visual, auditory, and narrative elements creates a multi-sensory experience where viewers feel fully immersed in the lives of the characters. Moreover, the film doesn't shy away from the moral complexities of war. Decisions are rarely simple, and victories often come at great cost. The filmmakers highlight dilemmas such as sacrificing a unit to achieve a strategic objective, protecting civilians while under threat, or choosing between loyalty and ethical action. By presenting these challenges authentically, the movie encourages viewers to reflect on history's difficult realities and the human condition under extreme circumstances. It's storytelling that engages intellect, emotion, and empathy simultaneously, elevating the film above standard action-centric war epics. In conclusion, One Battle After Another is not just a film about historical battles. It is a meticulously crafted experience that combines technical mastery, historical authenticity, emotional depth, and immersive storytelling. Fact 2 demonstrates the groundbreaking choreography and stunt coordination that make every battle pulse with life and tension. Fact number 1 reveals the film's profound emotional resonance, connecting audiences to the human experiences behind the strategy, heroism, and sacrifice depicted on screen. Together, these elements explain why the film captivates viewers long after the final credits roll, leaving a lasting impression that blends education, emotion, and entertainment. If you found these insights fascinating and want to see more behind-the-scenes details, hidden facts, and cinematic secrets, don't forget to hit that like button and share this video with friends who love historical films. Your support helps bring more deep dives into epic movies like this one. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update from our channel, where we explore the stories, strategies, and secrets behind the world's most compelling films. And if you really want to be part of our inner circle, click Join to become a channel member and gain access to exclusive behind-the-scenes content, extended analyses, and special perks. Finally, if you'd like to support us directly, use the Super Thanks feature below the video. Every contribution fuels our exploration of cinematic history. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next Epic Countdown.